Welcome back. You're here with Goldberg. Today we'll be talking about MGTOW in general, my view of the philosophy as it's applied to my own life and that of others. Tailor-Made Man came out with a shorter video on Vention MGTOW, and there was a lot of angst from the rapid response rage pillars in the manosphere. I watched his piece. I didn't see anything egregious about it. He was just trying to explain that not everything fits within the assumptions of the MGTOW label, particularly related to Vention. So Vention was a guy that I didn't even know he had a channel at first. He commented many times on my own, and we ended up having a disagreement because I had a two-part video on why you should go to trade school and why you shouldn't go to trade school. As you can imagine, a lot of insecure blue-collar guys started coming and attacking me because I suggested there might be people who don't want to go to trade school. Vention got offended by that video, so we had something of a disagreements. Then I put out a segment on why MGTOW guys should stop being angry and wasting their energy. He said no, they have a right to be rage pillars, but we got along pretty well. I think he was a diesel mechanic who also had his own side projects at home. Then he invested in Bitcoin early along with precious metals, so he was a millionaire. And in one respect, he was very successful as a MGTOW financially. The flip side of it was that I did detect a vein of bitterness, especially towards the end when he got cancer and it wasn't really a positive prognosis, where some lady had uploaded a video critical of MGTOW, and he would almost always respond to every MGTOW video with a copy-paste of why MGTOW, I've been successful, retired early, XYZ. But towards the end he says, yeah, I did get sick, but if I was married, I'd probably be dead. And I'm going, come on, dude. That's the type of where your philosophy or ideology comes before everything else, even alternative realities that you probably have observed. As Taylor was saying, maybe a girlfriend or even a wife, you never know, would be into nutrition or working out, being in shape, and that might have helped him. He said, by his own admission, he ate terribly his whole life, didn't really take care of his body, and that can be a risk of, oh, I don't want to do something for the world, as in looking good, so you just let yourself waste away, but that means you might not be able to enjoy the fruit of your labors. Granted, there's no guarantee. There are people who they eat organic their whole life and might still get cancer, but I can't help but think if he had gotten with some cute trad Vietnamese or Thai girl, maybe she would have cooked him better food, and who knows, it might have lengthened his existence. We can't be certain. You don't, just because you're not getting married doesn't mean you have to shun all women or all women are terrible. There are some benefits women can bring to your life if you have the creativity and the the gumption to go out and find them. But if you restrict yourself to the local trailer trash, well, obviously that's going to be the outcome. This does bring me on a quick side note. There was, just like with Renegade, Renegade was someone I did not buy the official story because he was saying some pretty dangerous things in his videos that are going to likely attract the attention of those you don't want them to. There was another guy called Damien. He ran a channel, MGTOW Exposed. And he was a cool guy. He was like half black, but he said, my racial background does not define who I am. And I gave him credit for that. It's different from a lot of these collared green cells in the manosphere who will always come and claim they're the victims of racism, when in reality, they're super entitled and narcissistic. And so you'll have a discussion about issues affecting men, and they expect to monopolize it and make it about the black experience, the black identity. People are like, no, we're talking about men in general. And then they'll say, oh, you're racist, and they go self-segregate and complain about, being historically butthurt. You're like, dude, move on. You have to transcend your identity if you really want to understand the system. If you're saying break out of the matrix, but then, oh, you can't say that word, that's not a red pill. It's not a black pill. That's a suppository blue pill. Any rate, back to Damien. He was critical of MGTOW. He's critical of Care Bears, right? And he's supposedly this healthy guy, early 30s, collapses of heart failure in the middle of a race. I didn't buy that. Out of respect to his family, I'm not going to make any speculation, but I didn't buy that outcome. All right. He had a great interaction, which I should have screenshotted with a MGTOW. And he was saying, look at these guys. They're overweight, bald, fat, whatever. And this guy goes, "No, MGTOW's not about being healthy or eating well. It's not about being in shape. It's about MGTOW." I'm like, okay, so it's just about this label you want to have to feel like you belong, but you don't care about investing in yourself. That's sad. It's truly sad. And not suggesting all MGTOWs are that way, but a lot of them just want a label to feel better about the fact that they haven't done anything with their life. Okay? So that's just, again, there's going to be variation. There's different people. But I hope you're not a MGTOW just to waste away and go into decline. I don't see any point in that. You could just say, I'm a slob, I'm a normie. This brings us to the realization that there are really two narratives about MGTOW, at least that I've heard. One is essentially a person comfortable with a fiat paycheck within the relatively safe bounds of society and the economic structure. So work a job, keep your head down, don't express any opinions, and when you go home, you can listen to TFM and Sandman. I was like, that just sounds to me like a pathetic existence personally, but if that's you, cool. The main problem with this whole argument is that you assume it's enough to keep your head down. Well, I'll talk about my experience in just a few minutes here and why that's not actually the case. But even if you do, like we saw with Vention, you spend all that time, you become a millionaire, Bitcoin, whatever it is, does that matter if you die before you can actually enjoy it? You do all this deferred gratification, Dave Ramsey's type stuff, a lot of the minimalism that's promoted on the internet. There's good minimalism, and there's the minimalism which is you trying to justify poverty, where, oh, you can't do that, oh, you can't travel, you can't do that. And it's like, no, you could actually do better for yourself if you want to live in this consumerist, mindset and world, but you're not. Or you actually have a good job, but you're constantly deferring for the future, which that future may never materialize. You could get sick, you'd be killed by a drunk driver, you could be put in a camp. All that money in Bitcoin ain't going to matter if you're being told to dig ditches and, I don't know, Disney World converted into a FEMA camp. But that can work to some degree. And I see a lot of these comments, oh, because I'm MGTOW, I've been able to buy a nice car, or, I don't have any debts. That's cool, right? At the same time, though, the guys that talk about that on the one hand, or previously did, they're now hyping up the, oh, look, it's man versus nature. We're going to have like a Mad Max scenario. Well, in a Mad Max scenario, if you think about it, what's the benefit of having a bunch of Bitcoin if you have no reliable power infrastructure, if no one actually values it? Precious metals more so, but now you have to be able to protect yourself. And you're going to have to be in shape to the extent that you can hunt, fish, clean the animals to cook them, maybe garden for yourself, build something on your homestead. These are all activities that require you to be physically robust, not some fat dude who eats tombstone pizzas and drinks Coke all the time. That's what I'm saying. I believe if there is this magical collapse they're talking about, most MGTOWs are going to be dead very shortly. They're not going to be able to survive. So that's why I'm not one that supports or promotes collapse. Like, that's a good thing, because I know a lot of people are just going to be wiped out, including the people who think the collapse is going to help them and raise their status. Probably not, okay? And it's not to insult them. It's just realistically, if you're completely dependent on supermarkets and frozen food and fast food, you're going to die very quickly, okay? That's why saying you're a MGTOW but you don't care about your health, but you're somehow going to survive because you have money in your bank account when things get bad, don't count on it, my friend. So now we arrive at my personal conception of MGTOW. I've always said I don't really see myself as a true MGTOW because I talk to women, and for most MGTOWs that's heresy. I do enjoy the company of cute girls. I think they're nice. Again, that's heresy for MGTOWs. You're supposed to shun women, or a lot of them expect you to. But that being said, I've always seen many of these people, kind of going back to that 9 to 5, it's a very materialistic ideology, and it doesn't always consider what is actual freedom beyond just money. And my own philosophy has changed a lot over the last 3-some years, as many people have noticed, not because of experience and because of obviously learning. But let me tell you how I experienced MGTOW in just the last less than a year, okay? So I was relatively straight edge in my life. Don't drink a lot, don't do drugs, date a girl, you don't cheat on her, whatever, be a scumbag. I was even into the minimalism to the extent that I was very frugal. So sometimes in college, I wouldn't go to an event because they charge you $50. I was like, oh, save the money, LOL.com. But the experience is actually worthwhile. I sometimes regret not getting those experiences, even if it would have costed a little bit of fiat here and there. But I did things well. I worked my way up to a solid, well over $100,000 a year income. Had a house, a couple of cars, and then the mallet hits. If you don't get the pincushion, you're going to lose your job. And here, my natural response, being a denizen of the capitalistic, not completely capitalist, but capitalistic system of the West in the United States, well, if I don't have a job, I've got a mortgage, I have these cars. What's my future? I've got to save and invest and have all these things. And so I tried to rationalize it. I said, I'll take the Johnson and Johnson. I spent a couple $100 on all these, detox formulas and potions, which is probably not scientific. I don't think you can flush out a vaccine by detoxing. But I felt almost like something was descending into me and it was rotting me from the inside out. And I said, I don't even have a good reason. There might be a person that says, "Oh, my poor mother, I'm her only source of financial, support," or XYZ. I have all these kids. I didn't even have those justifications. I realized I was doing it strictly for money and the comfort of the fiat paycheck, being a fiat friendo, a fiat faggot. Wait, what? And so I said no. I said I will walk away from a very lucrative six-figure income with potential to make a lot more if I so choose, because I want to have my own dignity as a man and as a human being. And it was like this weight just lifted from my shoulders. I say this as a fairly skeptical person, you guys all know. I don't know if it was spiritual, I don't know if it was conscience. It was just left me, and I felt so much better as a human being, more than I felt for a lot of my life when I was trying to be a good little goober. Make your money, put in your 401k, buy Bitcoin. And so that happened. I went for 4 months without a consistent full-time income. Not a big deal. I just went to the gym a lot, went to cafes, did a lot of writing and research. I've been back full-time, but it's given me the perspective to where I know I could lose my job, and I don't care. And I'm not going to live on the basis of I got to keep my job. It's just a silly way of operating, and it makes you a slave. In fact, I think anyone, including MGTOWs, if you are afraid of losing your fiat paycheck, this is not trying to insult you, but you are a consumerist, and you are a worshiper of mammon, ultimately. You may not realize it, but that's what you are. You have, I think it's called a connect Gile. I'm probably mispronouncing it, but it's the inborn servant or slave soul that was conceived. And a lot of people have that. A lot of people, in fact, I was listening to these two older guys, they're like in their 60s the other day, early 60s. Like, so what are you going to do? I don't know. They both have pensions. They both have six-figure salaries. Are you going to retire? Oh, I don't know. I think I'll work till I'm like over 70. I don't want to be around my wife all day. These people are literally happy to keep grinding away, paying taxes, because they don't have any other identity except as essentially a smurf, a slave. Now, also thanks to the pincushion, my girlfriend, we've been dating for a while. We were pretty compatible for the most part, relatively low drama. But, young women, they have their insecurity, their emotional mood swings. She had said she wasn't going to take the pincushion. Then she got all the gaslighting from social media and her friends and her career stuff. She took it. Everything that was manageable about her went up to 11. It became to the point where I said, I'm really sorry, because I cared about her. I said, I can't keep doing this. Just blocked her on everything because there was no stability. It was like one day on fire, love you. Next day, I hate you, get out of my life. It's like this, there's not going to be a long-term relationship here. So I had to let that go. Then more recently, I almost lost one of my parents for the second time in 10 years due to corrupt medical practices about, corporate and insurance profits. And the prognosis going forward is not very positive. So I could sit here and I could be a doomer cell. A lot of people try to caricature me that way because they're too stupid to listen to what I say, which is be a realist about the situation you're in, but be creative about a solution. There's always something you can do to have a richer life. We're not yet all locked up, okay? That's why you need to find something that you actually value beyond money, honestly, because money is not going to make you happy. Money can give you some security, but if you don't have any reason for that security, you're just, again, you're going to be one of those guys. Yeah, I'm going to just keep working till my 70s, might as well. They have no purpose. It's really sad. Um, so I look at it like this. What I'm going to focus on going forward, I'm not going to drain my accounts and just, hookers and blow. But I just don't take it that seriously. In fact, I may stop working as many hours because I'm just kind of sick of corporate culture. I'm not even sure if I'm going to keep doing more IT certs to get up and make over 200K because I don't want them to have more control over me, more ability to make me feel like I have something to lose. I know at any given time I could lose my job. That's fine. I'm not sweating that. I can sell my house right now, and with everything else I've got, I can go down to South America, maybe do like teaching English. I'd be fine for a long time, and probably the rest of my life, honestly. But I'm going to live as though my life expectancy is 35. I'm in good shape, but I want to focus on being really mogging, reaching my full potential. And yes, I'm gonna pursue these options with women. I've got like 5 chicks where I work, not coworkers, but they work around that are showing very strong interest. I'm going to pursue them. Oh, you're going to lose your job. You see, that's the MGTOW cuck slave voice that you're hearing. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your fiat paycheck. If you're afraid of that, you're not really a MGTOW. You're plugged into the mammonic system. And you're not going to be able to break free until you can say, I don't care about material stuff. My focus is that. If you build rapport with a woman and you can actually understand female psychology and read their body language, it's not game, it's called basic human interaction, you'll know if she's interested in you. And even if she's not, if she likes you platonically, her first response, if you just casually ask her out, is going to be, oh, I have a boyfriend, or she'll deflect. So you just move on from that. I have never been taken to HR over just casually asking a chick out. That happens for guys that cold approach or guys that are autistic and they don't pay attention to she's not reciprocating to you, so stop being a simp and just say hi and bye, okay? But even if it happens, oh, you're gonna lose your job, bring it on. I'm like Job or Mr. Incredible. What more can you take away from me? There's a lot of stuff that I've lost. There's a lot of stuff that I can lose. That's why it doesn't affect me anymore. My focus is, yes, I'll pursue women because I like having a girl with, adoring eyes. I know it's not going to last for a lifetime, but that experience is worth it because it's a positive memory. Like I have a lot of positive memories from the girls I've dated, even though they didn't work out. I don't believe in Disney princess endings like a lot of women do who are bitter, or bitter MGTOWs also believe in the fairy tale Disney ending. Once you detach yourself from that and you see life as a series of experiences and trying to get positive ones, it's not a bad thing. If you have a family you can spend time with, you get along with them, that's a good use of your time. If you have stuff that you value, things you can achieve beyond making money. I don't make money or much money at all off of my books. Maybe $200 a month, not even. It's usually like 100, 150. But the satisfaction of being able to produce something, research it, have a finished product which other people read, that's something, again, they can't take away from you. They can drag you to a camp, but they can't take away what you've done. They can take away your bank account easily, but they can't take away your achievements. So that's just my advice. You don't have to follow it. You can call me names, whatever. If you want to be a MGTOW, focus on stuff that's good for you and experiences that you're going to actually remember. Not, oh, I have a bunch of money, I'm counting out my Bitcoins, but then in the process of doing so, you've let yourself go and you die early. I really wish, like I said, I consider Vention a friend. I think it was a tragedy. But what you can learn from that is, sure, make money, but don't spend your whole life waiting to live because you don't know how long it's going to be.